Hello again. Brain bashing the prisoner. This was what we did at the 2015 event, and it's titled Seen and Heard. In order, which three scenes from the prisoner really resonate with you and why? And I said to the audience, when you make your scene selections, flesh out why you're making that particular choice and discuss it with your neighbours. It may trigger a memory or a factor that you hadn't considered. And we'll share our views, and I'm sure we'll all learn something to enhance our appreciation of the series. My original idea was to meet other individuals who were as enthusiastic as myself and see what they thought and why. Here's my chance. So in order, which three scenes really resonate with you and why? A number of members' choices do make for interesting reading. I'll give you a flavour. Here's what a number of attendees said. Bill Nunn, the gardener in Arrival, a small touch that helps set the scene as he is the twin stroke clone of the repairman. On the Beach with Peter Pan, refer to great dialogue, also a reference to Narnia. The kid singing Dem Bones, just great. Valerie Ziegler, Dance of the Dead, the beach scene, the best of Portmeirion, number 2 and 6. Arrival, the first interview with number 2, the control room, the props, and especially standing behind the penny farthing. The third was the fallout scene at the Houses of Parliament. Number 2 leaves, and number 6 briefly walks, head in the air, music soaring, triumphant, at least briefly majestic. Janet Davis said, free for all, the truth test, brainwashing, using techniques to force a human against his wishes. It's got echoes of 1984. Dance of the Dead, again, the beach scene, everyone's favourite, but a deeper meaning in number 2's coldness, because she knows what's in store for number 6. Chimes of Big Ben, back in London, the cruel method. Number 6 thinks Nadia is his ally and all the time is hoodwinked. Byron Joyce, Arrival, the shopkeeper is talking gibberish, but as number 6 enters, flawlessly changes to English. Living in Harmony, number 6 waking up and finding he is surrounded by cardboard cutouts of the kid and the horse. Byron says, this brings up the hairs on the back of my neck. Fallout. Number 6, back in London, explaining the demise of the village, unheard of course, to a London bobby. It's lovely visual comic timing. Paul Malamed said, hammer into anvil. What's going through your mind, number 6? Fear? The response, of course, is disgust. This sums up number 6 as unbreakable. Fallout, All You Need Is Love by the Beatles. The best band in the world meets the best TV show in the world. The opening credits, you are number 6. There we have the answer. Isabel Smith said, the revealing of number 1, it shows both good and bad within us all. The very last scene in Fallout, which is a carbon copy of the opening shot in Arrival, is the whole series going through the mind of a man who's thinking of resigning. The psychological game of war in Once Upon a Time. There are plenty more very interesting things that people have written, and all of that is in issue 642, number 7, and I recommend that. So here we go. A number of the members' choices do make for interesting reading. It was noted that the unmasking of number 1 polled a single vote. I find that astonishing. Another to receive this dubious accolade was the I will not be pushed, filed, etc., etc. scene from Arrival. One member, Philip Barrett, contrived to choose 9 scenes which no one else mentioned at all. Altogether, 158 scenes received votes. So we're talking a top 10, and really what I was aiming for is the top 3. So let's have a look at the definitive list. Starting, Pot Pickers, anyone old enough to remember that? Joint 10th place, The Scenes. Many Happy Returns, number 6's Ejection from the Jet. And tying with it, Free for All, the reporter's no comment interview with number 6 in the Moke. At 9, Chimes of Big Ben, where number 6 offers to make a handle for the door to number 6's chamber. At 8, It's Your Funeral, when the seal of office containing the bomb is handed to the new number 2. At 7, Arrival, number 6 in the shop asking for a map. At 6, Arrival again, when he smashes the radio. The final 5, Fallout, number 6 and the butler running for the bus. Yes, I think that's a lovely scene. The sense of shackles broken, freedom, caution thrown to the wind, the bonds of friendship, loyalty, allegiance, and September balance playing in the background. The bus, of course, is the transport of every man. Not a taxi, not a hired car, not a limousine, the transport of the common man. So the final 4 all jostled for attention until one scene came out the clear winner. At 4, Hammer into Anvil, number 2's final breakdown. This tale is about justice, revenge, turning the tables, suspicion, outwitting a flawed foe once a weakness is identified. Of the 2 protagonists, McGowan gets the easier role, goading and pressuring until the mental collapse of his opponent. Cargill portrays the growing paranoia magnificently. Remember, this was an actor noted for his ability to play comedy. And apparently Cargill has said that the last scene was filmed first, so top marks in that sense. At 3, A, B and C, the unmasking of D. Very clever. I didn't see that coming first time round. Afterwards, of course, you realise it's brought us full circle. The whole piece is deeply atmospheric, from the entrance right through to the throwing open of the doors as number 6 exits, all intercut with him being viewed on the back projection screen by numbers 14 with her very dry comment, "You'll have to call him D," and a desperate, mentally ragged number 2 about to get the shock of his life. Yes, it's good. At 2, Dance of the Dead. You're probably ahead of me. The Mr. Tuxedo scene on the beach with number 2. Yes, it's magic. The location, the otherworldly dialogue provided by Anthony Skene, the 2 characters, the evocative lighting, the sunset, the shadows. It's poetic. This was a scene that captivated film editor John S. Smith and motivated him to restore this unfinished episode that had been languishing, discarded on a shelf. I suspect this was because the sheer mystery, atmosphere and plotting was just baffling to most. When filmed, the rough cut lacked an important element, something that the whole episode pivoted around and was to make sense of it all. And that was the voiceover to be provided by number 6 for the written note he puts in the pocket of the corpse. Without that, the episode would be totally baffling. So John gave Patrick the dialogue to do a voiceover. But unfortunately, what happened was the dialogue, there's a piece and then it changes to another scene, then it comes back to the dialogue and the rest of it was on another sheet of the script. Patrick didn't realise that, so only said the first part of the dialogue. The rest of the dialogue makes it all much clearer. But to my mind, I like that ambiguity because it's more enjoyable and heightens the mystery. But it is a simply brilliant scene which captures and epitomizes the essence of the series. Okay, and now we come to the unveiling of the #1 scene. Funnily enough, in all the written questionnaire responses, no one had mentioned it at all. It comes from an episode that people frequently overlook, is not considered integral, not one of McGowan's magic essential 7, a piece of fluff, escapist, a James Bond spoof. Yeah, The Girl Who Was Death. The episode that both proved a sort of escape from the oppression and intensity of the village, and it demonstrated that McGowan was a versatile actor who could play like comedy. Considering that this was near the end of the production, with all the pressures and stresses involved, to not show that on screen was quite something. I also like it because it's another example of how when you sit down to watch an episode of The Prisoner, you never know what you're going to get. A couple of weeks back, #6 was played by a different actor. Last week, it was a Western. What have we got this week? So, here we go. Watching The Girl Who Was Death is light relief after the intensity that has gone before. And of course, what it is when #6 drains his pint of ale and reads on the bottom of the glass, "You have just been poisoned." Yes, all the philosophy, the rights of individualism, the politics, the search for the inner self, social comment, the creative experiment, the desire of Patrick McGowan, the assembled creative talent, the fight against bureaucracy, and it's the poisoned pint that wins the day. I have to smile. Now, funnily enough, there's a little story attached to this. Way back when there was going to be a Prisoner episode shown, I think it was the TV Heaven series, but I wouldn't be sure, the Society was asked which episode would be most appropriate to give a flavour. And the Society suggested Dance of the Dead. But somehow, in some sort of bizarre game of Chinese whispers, Dance of the Dead, by the time the technician went down to get the spool of film, had translated to The Girl Who Was Death. So people who had missed or heard about this series and wanted to know what it was all about were left totally baffled, confused and perplexed. Cheers, bottoms up. So finally, you've heard what the members' favourite scenes are. What's your favourite scene? Why don't you think about what your top 3 scenes are and email us? It'd be very interesting to see. Thank you.